Welcome to Late Night Riders. On this episode, we talk with Danny. Danny is the founder of Ashva Yoga in Castle Rock, Colorado. She was recently featured in the 2019 edition of the Equine Journal and the 2019 edition of Horse Illustrated. She was a presenter at the 2014 and 2015 YogaJournal Live at Estes Park, Colorado, teaching equestrian yoga. Danny also presented in the National North American Trail Ride Conference and the Parker Elizabeth Riding Club.
Anyone that has horses, you'll definitely find that either her breathing techniques or her stretching is going to be something that will be truly an asset for both you and your horses.
So enjoy. Welcome to Late Night Riders. I'm Gretchen, and I'm joined by my grandma Debbie and Danny.
Hi, Danny.
Hi, thank you so much for having me, Debbie and Gretchen. Glad to be on the show with you guys.
We're so glad to have you. Thank you.
So Danny's from Ashva Yoga, and can you tell us a little bit about how you got started with horses?
Sure. So I grew up, born and raised in Germany, and ever since I was a little kid, I was just fascinated with horses, and maybe it's every girl's dream to want to be with horses. But my grandparents had a farm, and I spent pretty much all my vacations on the farm. Unfortunately, they had cows and pigs and chickens. Unfortunately, not a horse. But I always was fascinated with horses. Every once in a while, for my birthday, I got from my parents a riding lesson. We were three girls. I have two younger sisters. And of course, if all three wanted to do riding, it gets quite expensive for our parents.
Right.
So every once in a while, I got a lesson. I started, when I was younger. And then as I got older, parents had friends that had horses and a pony. So I got the experience of riding a lovely pony that tries to rub you off on any tree that it passes with you.
We hear that often.
Took a little bit of a break until I made my own money. Started a job and could actually afford riding, and it was a pretty committed rider, taking lessons 2-3 times a week in Germany. My background is jumping and dressage. That's what you do in Germany, and just absolutely loved it. So that's how I got started with the animals and the horses. So
So then from that you moved to the States, and you had an injury, correct? And that's what brought you to start your company.
Right, exactly. So when I moved to the U.S., at least it was 95, my work got me here to beautiful sunny Colorado, which is not something you have in Germany in the winter. The blue sky, and I just absolutely loved it. And of course, I wanted to continue riding. And since initially, I wanted to come here for about 3 years, get the international experience, and go back to Germany. Well, this is 24 years later, I'm still here. And so I leased a thoroughbred for a while. And, after I went through some winners and decided, I'm going to stay a little bit longer, then I decided to buy my own horse. And it was an off-the-track thoroughbred. His name was Abraham.
Okay, yep.
Loved the horse. And I continued my journey with him with some jumping, some dressage, and I showed him a little bit.
Okay.
And unfortunately, when I tried to take him outside in the arena, that with a thoroughbred does sometimes not work so well.
Right.
And it happened. We were on a trail ride with friends, and when we came back to the barn, the horses and pastures were running, and he got all excited, and I tried to walk him back. He backed me off, so I had an injury in my back and actually fractured one of my lower vertebrae in the back, and so I was laid up for a little bit, and then started my journey into yoga to heal my back. I was fortunate enough not to have surgery, which is great, and came through Pilates to yoga, and then practiced it and my certification in yoga, and became a yoga teacher, and then decided to take it into the horse, and that's where my journey with Ashva Yoga started. Ashva means horse. It's Sanskrit, and Sanskrit is an old ancient Indian language that we use a lot in yoga poses. If you go to a studio, a lot of teachers might still use the language for poses. And so Ashva means horse. And so I wanted to bring my experience that I personally had with my horse and the yoga to other people. And started. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, Debbie.
Can I ask you a question? When you were saying you came off of that horse and you were injured, and then you had that was a pretty severe injury. My question is like you had to take it pretty easy for a while, and were you thinking I can get through this, there's a way to do it, or was it more or less we might have to do surgery? I mean, I'm kind of wondering how that came to I will do the yoga then. How did that happen?
Well, it was all about strengthening. The doctors told me because it was a compression fracture.
Okay.
And so there really wasn't a whole lot. I mean, they have technologies now to kind of, make the vertebra bigger again.
Okay.
And I didn't want to do that. So I thought I'm going to try it with the Pilates and with the yoga just to strengthen.
Wow.
And, stay more flexible that way. And it's to this day, it really helped me. But I do have to be still diligent with my practice so many years later.
Right. Wow. I just wondered how you came upon that, if you had heard it and thought this might work or whatever. That's amazing that it went from that to all of this. That's a big step. So, yeah.
So at what point did you switch over to riding Western? Was it as soon as you got to Colorado, or was it...
Sorry?
At what point did you start riding Western? Was it once you got your horse in Colorado, or was it later?
It was later because I had the thoroughbred that I showed jumping and dressage. And then after my accident, when that happened, for a while I couldn't ride. I had, help other trainers trying to ride my horse. And then the Western saddle gave me more the security, if you will, to be a little bit safe. Saddle. I know my first ride, I felt like Michelin Man with, eventing vest.
Right. Yeah.
All protected just in case.
Right.
Because it's a big thing for a lot of us if we have injuries with the horses. Not just that we break our body, but we break that trust between the horse and us. And that's a big part of what I'm teaching now with my Equestrian Yoga is, yes, we do poses that make us stronger, more flexible, whether it's twists, side bends, things like that. But it's also the mental aspect of yoga and the trust that we build with the horses, especially if something happens. It's really hard. And it took me a long, long time. Right. And the yoga has absolutely helped me just to become more aware, to become more present. My breathing, how it affects the riding, and that's what I'm teaching, and I absolutely love spreading the word and helping more people overcome what I went through. Really by accident, I stumbled upon it. So
did you find that once you started this and riding Western, that's kind of interesting to me because I rode Western when I was younger, and then got into the hunter jumper world, but still love to ride Western for trail around here. But did you find that as you worked with your horse, the horse that you were working with at that time then, that the horse helped you a little bit through that, or did you help the horse a little bit through that to help you? How did that work? Because I know horses have a lot of, there's a lot of energy there where they pick up what you're doing too. So
absolutely. So I had to be very, very present all the time. One reason was because out of fear, out of that trust that wasn't there anymore.
Sure.
But then also to pick up on his energy. Like you said, horses mirror our energy.
Yes.
And they can tell if you're nervous, if you tense, your muscles get tighter, you lift yourself out of the saddle. So all these aspects play a role when you ride, and it doesn't matter really which discipline it is. Horses are great teachers because they do show us where we are in our space, in our head, in our bodies. They compensate for our imbalances, for our weaknesses, for our stiffnesses. And so the Western saddle gave me just a little more security.
Sure.
Unfortunately, my thoroughbred was used to reins always tight. So with the Western, you try to ride on a very loose rein. And so that took a lot of time. Luckily, I had a great trainer that helped me through that.
Nice.
To make him basically learn that loose reins does not mean run. So
I like that you're saying that because there are people that have those things where they have come off of a horse. Even my daughter, Kristen, Gretchen's mother, we all have, but I mean at that time when you have that trust issue, and it's good to have somebody to help you through that, because sometimes people don't get through that. But even hearing you say how far you've come with that, somebody helped you along, and step by step here you are today, which is amazing. So
thank you.
So when you first started incorporating it with the horse, how did that happen? Were you just like out there doing poses with your horse, or did you actually get up on your horse and start doing poses?
I started doing poses. Well, the first part was really the breathing was the biggest part. Like Debbie said, horses feel that energy. So it really started with me using my breathing exercise while I was riding.
Okay.
I was synchronizing my breath with the horse's movement, and I was trying to elongate the exhalations, because that's the exhalations are feeding our parasympathetic nervous system, and that's the calming part of our nervous system. So as I, was able to exhale more deeply, I could feel my horse relaxing. And one day I was with another boarder from the facility I was boarding back then. We were out riding, and her horse got a little nervous, a little anxious. And I said, "Hey, Danielle, why don't you try this? Try to exhale longer than your inhalation. Count your inhales and then make your exhalations longer." And her horse, it was just like somebody flipped the switch. That horse relaxed. It was focused. It wasn't spooky anymore. And I'm like, oh my God, this is working.
Yeah,
this
something's
awesome.
happening.
And so that I have to teach this. And then the poses came after that, because then I felt like, okay, when we're riding, if you look at how you wear your chaps, or if you look at the soles of your shoe, it's unevenly worn.
Right.
And so when one side is stronger riding, that immediately affects the horse. It doesn't matter which discipline, if it's on a jumper, dressage, Western,
right.
and it doesn't matter.
Right.
So it's the awareness that we gain from practicing yoga to then help to be a better rider, because I feel like we owe it to our horses to become the best that we can every day, work on ourselves first, and then with the horse become, that union, really, that means yoga, a union with the horse, that connection with the horse.
Boy, really does make sense, because, I was wondering about that, how you put that together, but it makes so much sense with your breathing and knowing from the side of the horse, that's really interesting though. And then the poses and things with the balance, like you're saying, and learning how to calm everything down and then be more balanced. And I'm sure, strength and different things that you do makes such a big difference. So, yeah.
Now, when you're doing your poses, or like going through your poses with your horse, is it a flow, or is it more split up since you're on the horse?
It's a very gentle class. I know a lot of people are going to say, Equestrian Yoga, what are you doing? Are you doing down dog and headstands? And I always say, it's like, yes, we could do that, but no, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
I usually start on the ground with the horse. So we do some, lateral stretches, side bending. I try to do more hip, inner legs, inner thighs, anything that helps to lengthen the muscles. That kind of, when you kind of hold the body against your legs, your hips. And then I also incorporate some poses for the horse. Actually, we'll do some hip openers for the horse that I've learned over the years from chiropractors, horse chiropractors, and therapists. And so just kind of help them a little bit, because a lot of times you feel that not only we are imbalanced, the horses are imbalanced too.
Right.
Sometimes because of us, but sometimes just because they are. And so you just get more aware. So we do poses on the ground, and then oftentimes, like let's say we do a standing twist, just to see, okay, what's your range of motion? Which way can you twist further or not? And then later we'll do it in the saddle again, seated, and see, okay, what's different, because now your pelvis is stationary in the saddle. So when you're on the ground or when you're on a yoga mat, you can cheat a little bit.
Okay.
You don't get that feedback. But when you're in a saddle, then it's much more true to where is your range of motion. And I've had people talk about, the differences from side to side, like a jumper, when they land, their horse would always fall out to a certain side. And then when we did this twist, it's like, oh my God, I'm so much more flexible one side or the other. And that's exactly how it affected the horse.
That's so interesting.
Did you
and then also when you ride with others, especially, let's say, you ride behind each other, you usually have a tendency to turn always one way. And that, of course, over time creates a habit in the body. So now you're more flexible to the left, let's say, because you're always looking to your buddy, turning to the left. And so sometimes we're just not aware. We're just human and we just do things. And over time, it creates a pattern in the body. So, yeah.
I know you did your dressage and hunter jumper first and then went to your Western. I know it's a matter of balance and riding and so forth can be the same for both disciplines. But did you find that the Western helped you a little bit in the discipline? I know you said your reine's looser, but sitting in that saddle, did you find anything any different with that kind of a saddle compared to like your English saddle, or not so much, just balance? Is that kind of more the...
I like to have a deep seat, and that's probably from my dressage background. So I actually have a custom-made saddle that does have more that dressage-like seat.
Okay.
I like that connection. I like to be with the horse. I like to really feel it. And you have, of course, a lot more tooling, a lot more leather in a Western saddle. But nonetheless, you still feel the horse. If you are aware and present and conscious, you can feel it. Like one exercise I do with my students in Equestrian Yoga is so their own breathing, but then I ask them to feel the horse's breath. And if you've ever taken the time just to sit and relax your legs, the horse breathes really funny. I mean, first of all, they breathe less in a minute than we do. They go 8 to 12 times, where we go more 12 to 18 times a minute. But sometimes they hold their breath, then there's a whole pause, there's nothing, and then there's a big sigh. And so it's very choppy, if that makes sense, initially. But then I ask them, okay, no matter how weird the breath is, synchronize your breath with the horse. And you should see these horses. There's these ears going back. They're like, I don't know what's going on back there. And their breath changes. Their breath smoothes out. It gets more rhythmic. Because they're not holding it. So it's really quite amazing how the horses just rock.
That's really cute. That's sweet.
Awesome.
And sometimes, people say, well, I can't feel the breath. And I said, because we're not doing a lot of riding, like galloping or cantering or anything like that. So the horse isn't really out of breath, because we do mostly standing and then walking, sometimes trotting. It depends on the group that I have, if they're comfortable with that, in the arena all together. So sometimes it's harder to feel the breath, but if you do, then it's quite interesting how it changes just by you trying to be with the horse. So
now, do you travel to go see your different clients, or do they all trailer their horses to where you're located? How does that work?
I do both. Since 2 years, we have our own little ranch, and then I have people come in with their horses, they trailer in, and I also travel to different ranges. I don't have an indoor at our place, so especially in the winter, if somebody does have an indoor arena and they invite me over as a trainer, as a teacher, to practice with them there, then I will do that. And so I'll travel all over. I'll be in February, I'll be at the Rocky Mountain Horse Expo. I'm grateful for being accepted as a clinician. So that's really my first area. I've been at the YogaJournal conference up in Estes Park, where I partnered with they call them dude ranches, those trail riding horses. And we like in the Rocky Mountain National Park, and it was a really nice day, an all-day event. So
Yes, and we know you've been in other publications like Horse Illustrated, and you've done many things. So, you've been doing quite a lot for a long time with that. So, I have a question that's a little bit different, because we were talking about yoga before we came on. So we have people here that do, maybe this is totally different, like hot yoga. So I'm thinking of Colorado, the different temperatures. Does that affect what you do, or do the temperatures make a difference at all? Or what do you think about those things?
In regards to the horse part, the equestrian part?
You're working with your horses and the people that you're working with, does it make a difference in how the horses react to the yoga or the people? I mean, I don't know if you're in a climate where it's colder and hotter at times, but here, in Ohio, we have places where there's hot yoga where it's really hot. People are in that environment. Do people prefer the horses, or is there a temperature that is better one than another, or it all works together?
I mean, we're not really. You can really practice at any time.
Okay.
Of course, it's more comfortable if you can just wear, a light shirt, rather than in the winter we're all bundled up. Like a Sunday, teaching close here to Castle Rock class, and it's outdoors. We love the outdoors, so it's a little chilly. But, you warm up, and we just love the outside and the sunshine and the blue sky. And I still teach yoga in the studio as well.
Okay.
I own yoga studio in town here until this last summer, when I decided I'm going to sell it and focus more on the equestrian yoga part. So, but I'm still teaching, weekly classes, group classes, private classes, semi-private on the mat.
That's awesome.
So it's not just equestrian
And
yoga.
being in Colorado, on your Facebook page, I saw it must have been, I would think, Colorado, beautiful, gorgeous scenery. That has to be beautiful for everybody. Horses, the people there, that's a wonderful thing anyway, when you're trying to slow down your breathing. And do poses.
I also think it's awesome that you're doing it with the horse. We have like some alpaca yoga and goat yoga here where they just are just running around you the whole time and having a great time.
Yeah.
But it's awesome when you get to actually have that connection with an animal and you're doing it together. It's your partner and you're like experiencing that together. I think it's incredible.
Yeah, that's true. Very true.
Yeah, so over the course of a practice, I always ask the students to kind of remember how they feel when we first get into the saddle. And even just getting in the first time feels different because we did some on the ground already. You do your warrior two poses. You can do them really anywhere. You don't need a yoga mat just to get the thighs open, to get the groins released a little bit. Like I said, the hips, the shoulders, and then also just play with balance. I have them stand in a regular chair pose that you do in yoga, where you bend your knees and then just put all the weight in one leg, put all the weight in the other leg, and notice which side is easier, because you will have, I always say, a good side and a better side. And that plays a role. How do you put your feet in the stirrup? Where is your weight when you're riding? Where is it in the saddle? And, if we are heavy on one side, the horse has to carry us more on that side. So they develop their muscles differently as well. And I love that, people are more and more open to understanding that, maybe the horse isn't the problem. Many people, they go through horses and horses and horses, and after a while, it's like it's the same thing that happens again, right? Different horse, but same pattern, same things happen. And until we realize, well, maybe it's us. Maybe I can be better. Maybe I'm pulling too hard, or maybe I'm too imbalanced or inflexible, or maybe not strong enough, to carry the horse and lead him with lightness, but yet a steady seat, a good connected seat. Not interfering with the horse is important. That you have the suppleness of the shoulders and the legs, and can use them independently. You don't want to squeeze your legs and pull on the reins at the same time. So you want everything to be kind of independent in a way. And so I'm really glad to see people are more and more open to that, to understanding that, a lot is me and not necessarily the horse.
I agree. This is probably going to be a tough question, but how long do you think it takes someone, let's just say, I know horse people, some of us tend to be pretty rough on ourselves at times. So you get these people come in who are really stiff or sore or, can't move like they should. Or even, too, some people have had maybe some injuries in the past. How long does it take to actually kind of see a change? How long should somebody give this before they say, hey, I'm going to see a change? What do you think?
Very quickly. I have one student fairly new with that group that I'm going back to on Sunday. She is quite disabled, has some struggles, health struggles. And she told me right away from the beginning, said, Danny, if I can't do certain things, it's not you, it's just me. I have restrictions.
Okay.
That's cool. That's fine. And then after, when I was there the third time practicing with them, she said, you know what, after the 2 times, I feel completely different. She said, I have stretched muscles that I didn't know how to get to. She does PT, physical therapy for her injuries and all that. Yes. And to me, that's just rewarding to hear. That's like, even after that short amount of time. I have people that are older. I have people that are younger. One lady, she's got to be in her mid-70s probably by now. Wow. And of course, then, the older we get, the more, accidents or things happened with us, with our horses.
Right.
And so it's even more important to work through that because, we don't get more limber by doing nothing. We have to really work at it. We have to be on top of it and realize, okay, this is what I need to do to become more flexible again. And a lot of times people are intimidated by the word yoga. They say, oh, I can't do yoga because I'm not flexible. And I said, it has nothing to do with it. Yoga is so much more. It's the mindfulness. It's the self-awareness. It's the growing as a person. That's all part of yoga. It's not just the physical part of it.
Right. So as someone who, or not, I do yoga, but for beginner people that have never experienced yoga before, how should they start? Should they start in a class? Should they start on looking up YouTube videos?
Yeah.
What do you
better with
recommend?
An instructor or not? Right. Yeah.
Yeah, they can come to any equestrian yoga. I've had a lot of people that have never done yoga. They come with their horses and they tell me, I've never done yoga, know nothing about yoga, and they do awesome. Like I said, it's a very gentle practice. There is some twisted, but it's nothing that not anyone can do. Sometimes people are a little bit tighter in their quads and front of the thighs when we do thigh stretches in the saddle. So what I have old lead ropes that I cut up, and I use them I call them my arm extenders.
Oh yeah.
And so I hand them out to practice, and people can use it to catch their foot and to bring it to the saddle. And so anybody can do it. When we do, the cow face pose with the arms, a lot of people can't touch the fingers behind their back, right? Not many can, actually. And so same thing, I give them that little lead rope and they can hold on to it and they still get a beautiful stretch in the shoulders and open the chest and all that. So really, you don't need any experience to do this. You can come with an open mind and ready to learn and to experience and learn with your horse. Because the horses learn at the same time as well. The first time people come with their horses, the horse is like, well, that's weird. I'm just standing. I'm not doing anything. You're not asking me to do anything. I'm quite confused. So, yeah.
That's awesome. So where can people find you to contact you if they're interested, if they're in your area?
They can go to the website, ashvayoga.com, and there's a link. They can email me. And I'll be happy to touch base with them to come practice there with them and teach there. If they want to learn more about it, I do have a DVD. I actually have it here. That is a home practice, Equestrian Yoga.
Yeah,
it's a 40-minute class. 20 minutes you can do with the horse out in the pasture, out in the arena. You can do it at home in your living room, and then 20 minutes is on the horse. So people can just kind of get into it, how they move their spine, the cat-cow, what you do on the yoga mat, just to kind of mobilize the spine, and the nervous system gets a little massaging. And really it's about, creating that connection, that deep sleep with the horse, so that you're safer, because you do want to, safety is first, and you want to be safe and stable in the saddle.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we'll enter our next segment, Canter Banter.
This podcast is brought to you by Ramm Horse Fencing and Stalls, the one-stop shop for your horse farm. Ramm is family-owned and operated and has been in business for over 30 years. We welcome you to call in and speak with an expert about your next project today at 866-653-8984. Again, that's 866-653-8984.
And we're back. On this segment of Canter Banter, Danny's going to share a spooky story.
So last summer, I mentioned we have this in Suya, we have our own little ranch, and safety is number one for me, for my horses. I love to have it safe for everyone. Anyhow, we were sitting on our deck one afternoon, and there was one of those party balloons blowing in. It was quite windy that day. And as a horse person, you see this, you're like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen, right? So that balloon comes in, and somehow the string got wrapped around one of those electro braids and was stuck at the fence. And we have 2 quarter horses now. I switched from thoroughbreds to quarter horses now. Okay. And anyway, the quarter horses, of course, freaking out, big eyes. And then after a while, they just slowly came closer to the fence, checking the balloon out, and they were nudging it, got all brave. And at some point, one of the horses, Rusty, he pulled on the balloon string, and that horse has about the worst teeth in the world. And somehow the string got stuck in his teeth.
Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness.
In his mouth, trying to get rid of it. The balloon is flat on top of his.
Oh my
He's
gosh.
running through the pasture, up and down the hill. Tank, my other horse, right behind him, and they're just racing and racing. And I'm just watching this like, oh my God, what's going to happen? What's going to happen?
Right.
And what about was to get up and think, okay, I have to do something. You can't just sit there and watch that. It was hilarious. We had to laugh so hard. I walk out to the pasture, and the balloon got stuck in one of the scrub oaks and pulled it out of his mouth. And then they just stood there, like immediately stopped, turned around, looked at the balloon, just stared at it.
What is that? What was that all about? Oh my goodness. I cannot believe that happened. I've never heard of that with a horse's teeth with a string like that. That had to be funny. That's a good one.
That's a really good story.
Oh my God. They were so cute because then they just turned around and looked.
And like as soon as it's gone, they just stopped. Like
then that was
stopped.
Yeah.
Then they got all brave again.
They're so cute. They're so sweet.
That's funny.
Aww.
Well, thank you, Danny, so much for taking time to talk to us and teaching us about yoga with horses.
Fun.
It's incredible.
Yeah, it's really been
really
fun.
Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Equestrian Yoga, and I hope you have a awesome rest of your day, and thanks so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
We hope you enjoyed listening to our podcast and encourage you to share with all your equestrian family and friends. You can tune into the Late Night Riders podcast show every Friday night. Each episode will be uploaded exclusively on YouTube, where you can subscribe to our channel to stay up to date with all of our latest shows. Do you have a topic you'd like to discuss? We want to hear from you. You may email us at podcast@rampfence.com or feel free to leave a comment below. Thank you again for listening.